Imagine this is your local water supply. Now imagine that one drop, one tiny drop, represents your water usage for watering a grass lawn one time. While it may seem insignificant, now picture that this amount of water represents your state's water usage for watering grass lawns in 1 year. Now, that goes from one small drop of water to a significant amount of water collectively over time. Considering the rest of the population, a significant amount of the state's fresh water supply is used for lawn irrigation. In fact, 50% of residential water use is dedicated to irrigation. Now, as the general public becomes more aware of the drought in California, it's important to see what alternatives there are for traditional grass lawns and opt for a more drought-friendly option. While replacing grass lawns with alternative landscaping is also beneficial for water conservation, it can also put some money back in your pocket. This year, Governor Newsom passed legislation AB 2142, incentivizing more drought-friendly lawn alternatives. Specifically, this legislation exempts turf replacement rebates from income tax and strengthens consumer rebates in efforts to help with water conservation. The state of California is working diligently to conserve water, which includes asking citizens, as yourself may be, to opt for more drought-friendly lawn alternatives. In fact, the state is partnering with local agencies to convert 500 million square feet of ornamental turf to alternatives by 2030. So now the question is, why not convert your grass while there's a monetary incentive? This incentive through the state of California doesn't include the other costs that you'd be saving. Now, these costs include lawn maintenance, such as mowing, hiring landscapers, replacing sprinkler heads, and the cost of water for such turf. While the appeal of a fresh, manicured lawn may seem difficult to replace, there are numerous alternatives to replace a traditional grass lawn. Artificial grass, for example, comes in many colors, textures, and even has been designed for different purposes. You want a putting green? There's an artificial grass for the job. Now, I can see if you're opting for something more natural. Now, in this case, you might want to opt for a ground cover, such as clover, creeping thyme, or even Japanese sweetgrass. You can also opt for desert landscaping, which includes very little maintenance, and you can also include local plant varieties, which can include cacti and succulents, for example. Now, with all this talk about lawn alternatives and the drought in California, you might be thinking, how does this impact you directly? The water crisis in California is expected to increase over the next 20 years. In fact, over the next 2 decades, it's estimated California will lose 10%, that's 10% of its water supplies. This directly impacts ranchers, farmers, and rural residents who depend on private wells for groundwater. Specifically, a decrease of water to grow crops will directly impact the state and nation food supply. Overall, switching from a more traditional lawn to a lawn alternative not only can conserve water and put a contribution towards the water crisis, but also can save some money and put some money back in your pocket. With a combined effort, changing to a more drought-friendly landscaping can save over 8,800 gallons a year of water. That's a lot of water in the end of the day. Thank you so much for listening to my speech, and have a good evening.